In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most confusing concepts in Ethereum, and that is gas. We're going to unpack what is gas, why do we need it, and how is it determined? And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be a gas master. If you've ever interacted with Ethereum, you've paid gas. Gas is a part of all transactions and activity that occur on the Ethereum network. Gas is also known as network fee or cost of a transaction. I, for one, have made many mistakes when it comes to gas. In the past, I've spent over $100 on a transaction that actually didn't end up doing anything because all of that money went to paying gas. Stick with me till the end of this video and you'll understand how to never make that same mistake that I did. We know Ethereum as a blockchain. It's also known as the world's virtual computer. Like all other computers, Ethereum uses resources. When computers want to perform some action, they actually take computing resources. A good example of your computer using a lot of resources is when the fan comes on. Sometimes when I have Zoom open and Spotify and my email and Slack, the fan of my computer will start to turn on and it'll try and cool it down. This means that my computer is working really, really hard and it needs that fan to cool it down. This concept applies to all computers, including virtual computers like Ethereum. They consume a lot of resources. Now, this is fine for my personal computer because I'm the only one using it, and I don't have to worry about sharing resources with anyone else. But how exactly will this work on a world computer where the entire world can access the same exact virtual computer? How do you manage resources? This is where gas comes in. Gas is a way for us to measure computing resources used on Ethereum and on blockchains in general. If I want to run a really complex transaction, let's say minting a bunch of NFTs, that will cost a certain amount of gas. Running a really simple transaction would cost less gas. We're going to understand all the components that determine the price of gas when you're interacting with the blockchain. Now, what determines the cost of gas? The cost of a transaction really breaks down into three areas. Number one is the complexity of that transaction. Like I mentioned before, minting an NFT is more complex than sending money from one person to another. Number two is the actual price of gas. The price of gas fluctuates with the price of Ethereum. And then number three is the global demand for using transactions. So how do you actually know the price of gas when you make a transaction? There are two primary ways to do that. The first is in your MetaMask wallet. When you perform a transaction, it gives you an estimation of the gas for that transaction before you confirm it. So you can check there how much gas you're paying and decide whether or not you want to pay that amount. And actually, you're able to modify how much you pay depending on how quickly you want your transaction to be confirmed. The second main way to determine gas price at any given time is by visiting a gas tracker website. One popular website to track gas is Etherscan. So if you visit etherscan.io/gas tracker, you can see on Ethereum different gas prices. Here they give us a breakdown of low, average, and high. Lower gas costs are less likely to get mined sooner. Average should be a reasonable time to mine, and high are transactions that are going to be mined quickly. Depending on how important your transaction is, you can change the amount of gas you pay in order to get it mined quicker. One thing that's important to remember about using these gas estimation tools is that these are averages. So if your transaction's really, really complex or really, really simple, you might need more or less than the average. So I would use the average as a benchmark, but wouldn't take it necessarily exactly because your transaction might be pretty different from the average transaction on Ethereum. All right, so now that we know what gas is, why it's important, and how it's created, I'm gonna leave you with some final tips. Number one, always make sure you have enough Ether in your wallet in order to pay for transactions. I've made a fatal mistake before of trying to mint an NFT and realizing that I don't have enough to cover the gas costs. Definitely don't make that mistake when you're going to interact with applications on the blockchain. Number two, always double check that the gas you're paying for a transaction makes sense. So if you're buying a certain token and you're getting $5 worth of that token, but the gas cost to make that purchase is $20, that is not worth it. you're going to lose $15 by making that transaction. So always double check to make sure that the gas you're paying for a transaction is less than the value of that transaction, or else it won't be worth it. Gas is one of the most fundamental concepts on Ethereum and when engaging with Web3 applications. Now that you understand it a little bit better, you can start to look for ways on how to optimize your transactions. Good luck.